Hello guys, welcome to another video of basics of software testing. In this video, I am going to tell you about the development life cycle. Software development life cycle is necessary to understand. Why is it necessary? Because you need to understand where do you stand in this cycle. The work that you're going to do as a software tester, you need to understand what all things happen before testing and what all things happen after the testing, right? So in previous videos I have explained it in very layman terms. Today I'm going to use some technical terms to explain it in a manner that you can use to explain in your interviews as well. Okay. So first of all, uh, as a software company, any software company for that matter, the client the client contact the companies, right? The client contact the companies or companies contact the client for any kind of software requirements that they have. For example, I have explained in previous video, if you are going to have a startup, then you would be requiring some website or application. So you will be reaching out to these companies for the software development, right? So you will hand over them some kind of requirements, right? You will have some kind of requirements that I need a website which should have online banking, which should have online cart, which should have product, or whatever the business you have. Based upon that, you will provide the requirements. These requirements are documented, and then the requirements document is prepared. This requirement document basically necessary for the software development team to perform the entire cycle of development. So this requirement document is converted into software requirement document. Software requirement is specification basically. So in that, a team is there at a high level which does this work for your team, and they provide you with a SRS, generally known as understanding document as well, or requirement document as well. Based on this document, what your team does is, there is a lead in your team, right? A lead in your team, he will start with the designing and the development part, that how are we going to design and develop this software, what is the time will be taken, and how we're going to proceed, and which kind of task will be assigned to which developer. Generally there will be 2 to 3 developers in your team these days, and the task will be assigned to them. 2 to 3 developers, some are backend developer, that is Java developer, you can say, and then we have UI developer, that is the website, the look and feel, basically they do that. And then we will have the testers, that is us. So for testers, the task is, when the developers develop a website, then we have to perform the testing to check, right? To check, and in technical terms it is called validate. To validate the requirement are met or not. So by met or not, we mean we have to check if the requirement is correct. If the client has said that it should display this message after successful transaction, then we have to check if that message is being displayed or not on the website. So likewise, we will have different multiple requirements, and we will be checking those requirements in our software. Once the testing is done, then the software is deployed. The software is deployed to the production, and then the software development life cycle ends here. We also have one more phase, that is maintenance. Maintenance is nothing but the support. Suppose on production in future, let's say some kind of code is not working, maybe the tester has missed some of the test cases or scenarios. By scenario I mean, You must have tested login, you have tested logout, you must have tested payment, and in payment you would have forgotten any one test case for that matter. For example, a UPI test case you forgot, and then UPI payment is not working, right? So this kind of issues could come into the production. So these kind of issues were raised by the production team, and they provide to us that this issue is coming. So what will happen, the developer will again fix this code. They will fix this code in the existing code. When they fix this code in the existing code, then also as a tester we have to test it, and once it is tested, again we will deploy it to the production. So this is how the entire development life cycle works. Now when we talk about testing, in testing we have one more life cycle, that is testing life cycle, generally known as software testing life cycle, or STLC. It is also known as STLC. So we will take a look that what is STLC and what all things we perform in STLC. So based on the requirement document, we create the test case document. Okay, we create the test case document. So as the name suggests, this document will contain the scenarios that we are going to test, and under scenario we have multiple test cases. You will get to understand what is scenario and what is test cases. We will study it in further videos. So once this requirements of the test case document is prepared from the requirement, then we go on to write the test cases, or we are going to prepare the environment for these test cases. By environment means the URL, right? The URL, the test data. By test data I mean, if you are going to check for a login, so you need the user ID, you need the password. So whatever data we are going to type, it is called the test data. Once we write the test case, then we go on to execute the test case. The test case. Now there are two conditions. If you execute the test case, it could pass, right? It could pass and it could work fine. By work fine I mean it should work as per the requirement. The payment is happening, the success message is coming. But there is another condition, that it could fail. By fail I mean the requirements are not met. So what would you do in that case? If it is failing, that means the development was not correct, right? The development was incorrect. So you need to raise a defect. It is a defect, right? It is an error. So we raise an defect. Once we raise the defect, then after the fixing of the defect, the developer, the development team will fix the defect, and again we will test the code. We will test the code again, because after fixing there will be some code changes, right? Once the developer fix the defect, he will change the code to fix it. So we will test it again, and once we test it, then if it is working fine, if it is passing, then we move on to the next step, that is the closing out of the entire test case suite, and then we will tell the team that we can move for the deployment, we can move the deployment to further environments, further environments. So we have multiple environments in software development. The commonly known are QA, that is quality assurance environment, where we test. Then we have UAT, where the our client test the software. Then we have the release environment, where the exact copy of the production environment is kept. And then we have finally the production environment. So release and production are almost same. So these are generally the environment that are present. So basically we start off with QA, then we move to UAT, then we move to release, and then finally we move to production. You could see some differences here based on the company. Uh, one environment less or one environment more could be there, but moreover, the functionality, the process will remain same. So this is the testing life cycle. So in further videos, we are going to start off with the software basic principles like the component testing. What is component testing and how do we do it? Then the integration testing. What is integration testing and how do we do it? Then the system testing. What is system testing? How do we do it? Then we will have end-to-end regression testing. What is regression testing and how do we do it and why do we do it? And also the smoke and sanity testing. The smoke and sanity testing. That what is smoke and sanity testing and why do we do it? These are the major testing that you are going to perform in your career initially. Uh, so we will take a look on each of these in upcoming videos. Thank you for today's patience that you have. And please keep watching and show some support to my videos. Thank you.